Hello, good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. We're coming to you live from our studios here at Kukumleme. We're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125, across all our social media handles. We're Joy News on TV. Well, tonight, President John Dramani Mahama nominates 7 new justices to join the bench at the Supreme Court. We have details of this breaking news story.
Also, explosive revelations as the state slaps former Signal Boss Bureau, Governor Adu-Boahene, with 11 charges over alleged theft and misuse of 180 million Ghana cedis in public funds. More as Attorney General defends his public comment as a way to breathe life into the Constitution, expressing confidence in Yoko leadership.
Well, we have details of all that coming up here on Joy News Prime, but it's a good time to take you back to the Attorney General's news conference that has been happening for the past hour. Let's listen in.
That the president has appointed me to do. I don't want any side show going to court every day with you media people on my back. I want to sit in that office and make sure that I do the work that His Excellency has, appointed me to do. So I will not spend my time, going to court for defamation. I think he said something earlier. Oh, yes. The question is whether he's MP. I think you should ask A+ when you meet him. You should ask him. I've asked you to ask him critical questions. You see, the problem we have in this country is partly as a result of the work that media men do. I'm being honest with you. When A+ went on Facebook and splashed that spurious allegation, how many of you went to ask him to bring you evidence of Dr. Ayene's corruption? How many of you? But we were busy circulating it all over the place. Okay? So if you dig deeper and ask critical questions, people like him will stop trying to defame public office holders who are doing their best to serve with honesty in public office. So for me, I think that whatever he has said, okay, I've explained to you precisely why it was a palpable falsehood. I've also told you that I have sufficient reserves of integrity, and you can cross-check, to continue to serve in public office. Okay? So I'm not going to spend time dealing with A+. However, if he wants to go along that track, I'll meet him where it matters most. So thank you very much. God bless.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice, for this important briefing. So this should clarify the situation as to the sort of progress being made in the implementation of Operation Recover All It. There are many who have questioned government's commitments to seeing through that particular promise. This should be your answer. And so until we meet again next time, good evening to all of you. And thanks for coming.
The Attorney General there just giving us updates on some of the key cases that they're looking forward to dealing with. Now, if you just tuned in, we told you earlier that the former Signals Bureau boss, Dr. Charles Adu-Boahene, has been charged with different counts.
Yeah.
Key among
about
them,
11 of them.
11 of them.
Yeah.
Key among them is stealing. And we're just getting to find out as well that the president has nominated 7 new justices to join the bench. And so we're giving you updates on all that here on Joy News Prime. Well, we will be back with all that details after this quick test.
Well, Well, former Signal Bureau boss Adu-Boahene is facing 11 criminal charges this evening, alongside 3 others, including his wife, for allegedly stealing and misusing 180 million Ghana cedis of state funds. The revelation came moments ago from Attorney General Dominic Ayine at a press conference. Take a listen to what he's been saying briefly.
All things being equal, I will obtain convictions on most, if not all, of the charges that I have preferred today. Besides the documentary evidence involving bank statements, deposit slips, check numbers, and so on and so forth, we have persons with deep knowledge of the matter who have agreed to testify at the trial. Persons with very deep knowledge, primary persons who were close to the action, have agreed after having been, interrogated, about what they know. They have agreed to testify in this matter. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, my fellow countrymen and women, between March 2025, when I announced the arrest and detention of Mr. Adu-Boahene and his accomplices, and now, there has been some speculation as to whether my press conference was yet another piece of political propaganda. Some media houses actually claimed that I had been deceived into holding the press conference and that I had in turn misled His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic. Let it be known that unlike some presidents in the past who were misled, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is on top of his brief and cannot be misled. Indeed, if any appointee would mislead the president, it would not be his Attorney General. So everything I have told the president, I have evidence to prove it, and the docket is replete with documentary evidence of the wrongdoing that has been investigated. Having said that, I wish to let it be known that the delay in filing charges came about because our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Mr. Adu-Boahene, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kobina Adu-Boahene provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water, instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kobina Adu-Boahene and his wife. Okay? And then they did what they wanted to do with the money. So for every month, Ghana Water paid 1.3 million Ghana cedis to Kobina Adu-Boahene and his company in exchange for internet services provided by the government. Because remember that the National Signals Bureau is a government agency. Now come to think of it, that the government agency is providing secured internet services to Ghana Water Limited, a limited liability company solely owned by the same government. And Ghana Water is spending money that they do not have, okay, to pay for internet services at that cost, 1.3 million Ghana cedis every month. In fact, the figure rose to 1.5 million Ghana cedis every month at the close of our investigations.
Oh, you heard there the Attorney General. But my colleague Latif Idris, who was in court the whole day, he joins us live in the studio. Latif, he has been charged with 11 different criminal charges. Walk us through them.
Okay, so 11 different charges. One is stealing contrary to Section 124 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Second, stealing contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. 3, stealing contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Conspiracy to steal contrary to Section 23(1) and 124(1 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. 5, defrauding by false pretenses contrary to Section 131, Section 1 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Willfully causing financial loss to the state contrary to Section 179(3)(a) of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. 7, using public office for profit contrary to Section 179(c)(a) of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. We also have number 8 on the list, collaboration to commit a crime, to wit, using public office for profit contrary to Section 179(c)(b) of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. And on this particular charge, the wife of Adu-Boahene, himself, and the third accused person are both charged with this, the collaboration to commit a crime. Number 9, obtaining public property by false statement contrary to Section 5 of the Public Property Protection Act 1977, 140. And then 10, money laundering contrary to Section 1(2)(c) of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1044. Again, on this count, Adu-Boahene, his wife, and the third accused person are both charged with this particular charge. On the last count, which is conspiracy to commit money laundering contrary to Section 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, Act 1044, again, Adu-Boahene, his wife, and the third accused person, and the fourth accused entity. There is an accused entity in this whole thing. That is a company, according to the Attorney General, a company set up by Adu-Boahene and his wife. Adu-Boahene and his wife had denied any link or association with this particular business when the investigation started. But as they went ahead, they've now uncovered that indeed Adu-Boahene and his wife are directors of that particular company, a company they used to transfer money from the state coffers into the private coffers of Adu-Boahene and his wife. And so that is the fourth accused entity, if you like, in this particular matter. It's a criminal trial which now has officially begun at the court.
But let's zoom in on what happened in court today. They are pleading not guilty. What exactly happened?
On all counts. Count 1 to 11, Adu-Boahene, his wife, and the third accused person, they pleaded not guilty. So the lawyer for Adu-Boahene, his wife, and the third accused person appeared in court with a little girl. I mean, you know they have 4 little girls. Adu-Boahene and his wife, they have 4 little girls. It was part of the plea they made to the court that granted them the court bail, I think, a couple of weeks ago. They appeared in court with a little girl. They had her on their shoulder while they stood in the witness box to give evidence. And then throughout, Adu-Boahene kept a strong face. He was confident in his remarks, in his responses to the plea. When he was asked, how do you plead? He said, not guilty, my lord. The wife repeated same. The third accused person repeated same. Now, there was a bit of altercation between the Attorney General and Atachia, that is lawyer for Adu-Boahene. When Dr. Ayene, that is the Attorney General, told the trial judge that he is opposed to the bail application being put forth by Atachia for the first accused person, that is Adu-Boahene. For the other 2, he doesn't have any problem with them. That is the wife and the third accused person. They can go home on bail. But for Adu-Boahene, he has issues because following the investigation that is ongoing, they have evidence. Their surveillance shows that Adu-Boahene has attempted to interfere with the investigations. That is 1. 2, he is a flight risk. And so he wants the court to deny him bail, keep him in custody whilst the investigations go on. Atachia stood up and said, no, the point that Attorney General was making has no foundation whatsoever, and he's rushed to the court based on emotions and not on any facts whatsoever. Attorney General didn't take it lightly. He registered his displeasure and said he took strong exception to that. Atachia had to come in to apologize. So after the proceedings, I caught up with Atachia and I asked him if indeed he's confident the Attorney General has something on Adu-Boahene.
Okay.
I'll try reaching you again. I'll try. All right, I know you said you don't want to talk, but...
Any comments on what's happened today?
No comment, boss. So that I don't misbehave. The judge says you should come Friday for the Attorney General to show whether there are any residual investigations to be done, because he's insisting that Adu-Boahene should be remanded.
Because they have some surveillance that shows that he's trying to interfere with investigations.
That is his say-so. That is his say-so.
You don't believe that?
At all.
Okay. Wish you all the best.
Officer.
Right, so what happened after that?
Yeah, so the trial judge has set Friday for in-camera meeting with Atachia, the Attorney General, to determine and look at the surveillance or further disclosures that the Attorney General says he has on Adu-Boahene, reason why he was against the bill to be granted to him. If the judge looks at those, he will make a determination whether or not to grant Adu-Boahene bail or let him be on the court bill that is currently enjoying.
Right. Thank you so much. Latif Idris is our court correspondent, and he's been coming through with details from what really happened in court earlier today.
But there are other things happening when it comes to the judicial service.
Exactly.
It's important that we let you know that President John Dramani Mahama has nominated 7 new justices to join the bench at the Supreme Court. The nominations were made pursuant to Article 1442 of the 1992 Constitution, which empowers the President to appoint Supreme Court justices in consultation with the Council of State and upon the advice of the Judicial Council. In a letter dated 29th of April 2025, signed by the Secretary to the President, Dr. Callistus Mahama, and addressed to the Acting Chief Justice, the President nominated the following justices, and that's coming up on your screens.
Well, and you see the nomination of justices to the Supreme Court. The first photograph you see there is Justice Sir Dennis Dominic Ejay, and the one that follows is Justice Bill Simon Subari. The next is Justice Senyo Jamefe, and also Justice Kweku Aka Boafo. Then we have Justice Philip Bright Mensah, Justice Janapari Batels Kojo, and Justice Hafiz Sata Amalibwa.
Well, let's do more on this, and joining us via Zoom is Al-Hassan Suleiman Tampoli. He is member of the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee in Parliament. We appreciate your time here on Joy News Prime. Let's look at the timing of this appointment and nomination. Is it right?
Hello.
Hello, sir. I'm sure I can hear you loud and clear. I'm hoping you can hear me. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the timing of this nomination. Is this the right time?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. So the question you asked is a very important question, and is a very important question for the very reason that we are currently in discussion, heated discussion about the propriety or otherwise of the attempt to oust the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. So in the midst of all of this discussion, it's quite strange that the President will be nominating in a very unprecedented manner 7 new persons to the Supreme Court, while this matter is still on the front burner. I'm not too sure whether the timing is right. And then having regard also to the fact that a lot has been said about the number of justices that we have already on the Supreme Court bench. And they've described them as packing the court in the past. I'm not too sure what this would mean. This is more like super packing, unprecedented.
Super packing, you say, unprecedented, you say, but this is not the first time a president is nominating justice for the Supreme Court. The previous administration has gone down in history as to have nominated the highest number of justices to the Supreme Court. But then your concern really, I want to understand, this is coming at a time where the Chief Justice has been suspended. The Ghana Bar Association is going head on, threatening to go to court, and they're threatening to challenge the suspension of the Chief Justice. They want that revoked. At this time where there are calls for a halt to the interference when it comes to the judicial service, how do you propose we deal with issues like this?
I think I have to correct an impression that you made that the former regime has had the benefit of appointing a lot of justices and all of that. But what you must look out for right now is how many judges do we have on the Supreme Court right now? Regardless of how many, justices have been appointed. At any point in time when one or two justices are retiring, it's important that, some replacement is made. I'm not too sure what this is intended to be. Mind you, we are dealing with a regime that has said that it wants to have a lean government. Now, lean government means a lean, government to the extent that will be spending less taking care of, the officers who are being appointed. We are not questioning the competence or otherwise of the justices who are being, elevated to the Supreme Court. What we are saying, for instance, is that each one of them, each one of the people who have been, the distinguished judges who have been nominated, is going to retire on their salary. You understand? So already you are adding, something more to the national kitty, which you say you are coming to protect. And you are not going to exert a lot more pressure on it. So I find it a bit incongruous that in one breath, we are saying that we are doing a lean government and we are doing any and everything to balloon the public expenditure. So really and truly, what we from the minority see is an attempt to equalize, but there's no finesse in the way that they are doing the equalization. You go ahead and replace when the justice is retiring.
At this time where, if you allow me come in at this point, Mr. Tampoli, if you allow me come in at this point, Mr. Tampoli.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, and I would like to come in at this point. Just before you make that point, as we wrap up the conversation within a minute or two, if you can make this point for me, we're just looking at this administration spotting the need to actually make amends to the 1992 Constitution. You are a key member of the Constitution and Legal Affairs Committee in Parliament. Moving forward, should we consider amending the laws to ensure that the justice of the Supreme Court will be nominated by individuals in the law practice and not appointed or nominated by the President?
Well, I think that the jury is out there. The MPP will be submitting our memoranda or proposals to the Constitution Review Committee headed by Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, and we will make our views known as far as this subject matter is concerned. But the first point of this discussion should be what commitments did the President and the NDC make to the good people of Ghana. They propose that we should have a ceiling to the maximum number of justices who will be appointed to the Supreme Court.
Oh, there, we seem to have lost you. Thank you so much for your time here on Joy News Prime. To other stories now.
Well, the Ghana Gold Board has given local gold dealership firms 21 days to acquire or rectify all purchasing licenses issued by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company. This comes at the back of the expiration of all gold trading licenses issued by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, PMMC, and the inception of the new act establishing the Ghana Gold Board. First, listen to Acting Director General of the Gold Board, Sami Jemfi, declaring war on all foreign gold dealers who attempt to purchase gold from the local market following the expiration of their licenses and the ban on their direct dealing in the local market.
Section 78 of the Ghana Gold Board Act provides that any person who had a license under this old regime, whether the license was issued to the person by the PMMC or the minister responsible for lands and natural resources, that license has ceased to be valid upon the coming into effect of the Ghana Gold Board Act. We are using this medium to remind all foreigners in the local gold trading sector that the deadline for them to exit the sector is today, 30th April 2025. And that from tomorrow going, it shall constitute a punishable criminal offense for a foreigner to buy or sell gold in the local gold trading sector. That is the first information we want to share with you.
Well, he has also issued a 21-day ultimatum to local gold dealers to also rectify their old licenses or risk losing the right to trade.
Time frame is from today, the 30th of April 2025, to 21st of April 2025. 21st of May, sorry, did I say April? So today, 30th of April to 21st of May 2025. So we are giving you another 3 weeks. We believe that this is fair and this time frame should be adequate for anybody who is serious and desirous of applying for a gold board license to do so. And in our press release dated 23rd April 2025, we explained the process for license applications under the Gold Board Act. And just for purposes of purposes of emphasis, let me indicate again that if you want a license, you must go on the website of the Gold Board, which is goldboard.gov.gh. Goldboard.gov.gh. And you have 3 more weeks to apply for a new license. And I want to state for the records, with the media bearing witness, that this new timeline, this new deadline of 21st May 2025 is not subject to further extension. It will not be extended. So take advantage of it, because by the 21st of this month, only persons who have been granted licenses by the Gold Board will be tolerated in the gold trading sector. If you are a Ghanaian and you hold a license under PMMC or the ministry responsible for mines, and you don't take steps to apply for a new license before the 21st, you will be committing a punishable criminal offense if caught to be trading in gold after the 21st of May. So please, the portal is opened. Take advantage, apply for a license, and we assure you that if you qualify, we will grant you the license. No kululu, no kalala. The process is very fair and competitive.
Chaos and rejection marred what was meant to be a routine confirmation process for municipal chief executives in parts of Accra, as assembly members in Ayawaso West Wuogon and Ayawaso Central firmly voted against the president's nominees, Michael Mensah and Rudolph Collingwood William. Now, the tension-filled proceedings left Greater Accra Regional Minister Lindo Kulu visibly frustrated over after expressing confidence that the nominees will sail through without any incident. Well, there's more in the following report.
We will enter into our meeting. We suspend all of you. I said we will prove to them we are in the constituency. They dare not. It's not over. We will do them.
confirmation of Ayawaso West MCE nominee Michael Mensah breaks into violence just moments after the votes were declared. The nominee prior to the vote made a last-minute attempt to convince the assemblymen.
And I want to assure all of you here that I will lead Ayawaso West Ogun into the future of sustainable development. I want to ask for your support. I want to ask for your vote. I want to assure you that we are going to work together as a team. I want to assure you that I am here for your well.
But that did little to convince the assemblymen. 9 of them voted against the nominee, while only 10 voted yes. That is still a mile away from the 2/3 majority needed to confirm the nominee. NDC constituency executives were left surprised and angry after the votes were declared.
So that we are going for you people. You know what will happen in the I'm telling you, it's not over. They will not even enter the room.
That's not the only MCE nominee that was rejected. Rudolph Williams for Ayawaso Central was also rejected by more than half of the assemblymen. Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu was unhappy about the turn of events. She vowed to do all it takes to get the assemblymen to confirm the nominees.
We had a lengthy discussion and they gave us, they told us confidently that they are going to approve the present nominee. Unfortunately, only for us to see what we just saw. We told them to make amends with people. They may have felt that they are offended, and so that all these things wouldn't happen. Because this is the first case, and present nominee was rejected. So, like I said, we'll go back to the table, re-strategize, and come back. And the rest, we are still talking to the assembly members. Some of them are peeved. They said, this person did this to me, this person did that. And so we are telling the nominee, it wouldn't take anything from you, even if you know to beg that person.
She also urged the assemblymen not to monetize the process.
They shouldn't monetize. The fact that if you don't approve, they'll come back to you to give you. That is what we are trying to avoid.
Meanwhile, the municipal chief executive nominee for Ayawaso North, Haruna Mohammed Awal, was endorsed by all the assemblymen. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Now, despite a growing pushback from within the opposition New Patriotic Party about its controversial nationwide thank you tour, the party hierarchy says it is poised to continue with it. The thank you tour has been rocked by acrimony and violence. A party supporter and KNUST student was stabbed on the tour in the Ashanti region, which triggered the withdrawal of 2024 flag bearer aspirant Kennedy Ejapon, who cited security threat to his supporters as the reason for his decision. My colleague Nanaya Ojima has more in the following report.
The New Patriotic Party's thank you tour of the country has been rocked with some controversies since its beginning. A young man whose name is being withheld is alleged to have been stabbed for resisting attempts by some party thugs to retrieve a gift of cash received from a friend of Kennedy Ejapon. According to the politician, persons showing up for him at various venues of the party's thank you tour have often been threatened. He says his security details have signaled their inability to guarantee the safety of his entourage and others who troop to the various venues for his sake.
Lives are threatened. I don't think I can protect my team enough. So we want out so that Dr. Bawumia can do his campaign tour. I admit that he was the flag bearer. So if he's going round, and for the sake of unity, he invites it, and it turns out to be something different. We just have to stay away for them to do their own thing. So in brief, all I'm saying is, my team is pulling out, but I still call for unity in the party.
The strong-speaking politician has refused to respond to the allegations and alleged assaults, but insists on fighting for justice for the students.
And therefore, if I'm preaching for unity, I will not preach violence. I just want everybody, all supporters, to calm down. But I'll make sure justice is done to the student who was hurt.
Meanwhile, former flag bearer aspirant of the NPP, Adu-Boahene Japan, has indicated his readiness to contest the flag bearership again when nominations are opened.
And at an appropriate time, I assure them that we are also going to campaign. I want everybody to know, every party member to know that I'm going to contest. Indeed, they should be ready. And respectfully, nobody can tell me to back off. I will not back off.
The incident has been reported to the police, with 3 spent ammunition shells tendered in as evidence of shooting by the thugs. For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Well, the party's communications director, Richard Ahiamba, said the NPP welcomes Adu-Boahene Japan's decision. Let's listen to him.
The decision to pull off from the tour probably is not exactly welcoming, but it's a welcome news on another breath that, you know, it would help de-escalate what we saw yesterday, which is not really the intent of the tour. So based on his own comment following the decision to withdraw, to say that it is not for any reason but to promote party unity, I think that is a welcome news on that breath that he would step away. So I think that the tour in Western Region, which I was part of, was great. And the reports I got for the tour in Western North, Hafo, Bono, and the rest also were in the same spirit. So the tour is important, is a decision of our National Council, and all of us are supporting it. The challenges that has arisen, I think that would iron them out.
Well, hundreds of newly posted teachers are threatening to boycott classes when school reopen on May 6, 2025, after authorities at the Ghana Education Service attempted to sack them from GES premises. Well, the teachers who picketed the Ghana Education Service today, Wednesday, April 30th, say they have gone 8 months without pay since their posting in September 2024. Now, while some are yet to receive any salary, others are still without staff IDs.
The picketing at the Ghana Education Service headquarters in Accra began in the early hours of Wednesday, as hundreds of newly posted teachers from across the country gathered to demand the payment of their delayed salaries and the release of their staff IDs. According to one of the conveners, Ransford Amankwa, they received the appointment letters in July 2024 and began work in September.
Some of us here also have the staff ID, but we don't also have the ends of the toil that we have been toiling every day. We have worked for 8 months without salary, no salary, and anytime we go to the GES, they keep telling us sorry that we don't understand. We have been to a district level, we have been to a regional level, and we have exhausted all the procedures. This is not even the first time we are coming to the regional office. This is the 3rd time we are here to find out actually what is happening.
A few hours into the protest, as emotions ran high and voices grew louder, authorities called in the police, ordering the teachers to vacate the premises.
I asked them, what were they paying them with? Are we not teachers? And then the Ghana police come and ask us to leave the premises. Where should we go? I'm not a mason. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a pilot. I'm a teacher. This is my office.
More than 1,000 affected teachers are expected to report to their classrooms when schools reopen on May 6th. But for now, that remains uncertain.
Let me state this emphatically. Until my salary comes, I'm not going to the class again. I can't be teaching on an empty stomach. That's a fact. Yes.
That our final decisions lies with what will transpire in the office. So right now, there is a crunch meeting between our leaders and GES officials. So we are waiting for the outcome of the meeting. After this meeting, whatever that will transpire will inform us of our next line of action.
Reporting for Joy News, Collins Frimpong.
Away from that, some 500,000 Ghanaians are expected to benefit from the free technical and vocational training over the next 5 years under the newly launched National Apprenticeship Program. The initiative, which includes monthly allowances for trainees and startup capital upon completion, was launched by President John Dramani Mahama at the University for Development Studies in Tamale. The president said 45% of the beneficiaries will be women, with at least 5% reserved for persons with disabilities, alongside special provisions for other vulnerable groups. The National Apprenticeship Program forms part of President Mahama's 120-day social contract, which is due to expire in the next 7 days. Presidential Affairs correspondent Maxwell Agbagba has more in the following report.
The initiative aims to provide young people with hands-on training by pairing them with experienced master craftsmen and women across various trades. It includes tailoring, welding, hairdressing, carpentry, auto mechanics, and more. In his speech, President Mahama announced that participants will receive practical, on-the-job training, monthly stipends, startup support packages, including tools and equipment to help them transition into productive employment or entrepreneurship.
Each apprentice will receive a stipend and allowance for transport. At the end of the program, you will be given a certificate, and that certificate shows that you are professionally qualified in the trade that you went to learn. And you can use that certificate if you want to find a job or go into self-employment. The National Apprenticeship Program is designed to be inclusive, and we have said that at least 45% of the apprentice trainees must be women. And so the apprenticeship program is projected to achieve the training of over 500,000 young people within the next 5 years.
He also revealed that 300 million Ghana cedis in full funding has been allocated in the 2025 budget, stating that this is a sustainable long-term project.
Phase 1, which starts in 2025, will focus on enrolling 10,000 apprentices from all the districts of Ghana. From 2026 onward, we intend to scale up to 100,000 youth trained annually. Application forms will be available at all metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, and online through the National Youth Authority portal starting in May. That's next month. So next month, the online portal will be on.
Chief Executive Officer of the National Youth Authority, Osman Ayariga, expressed gratitude to the President for believing in the capacity of young people. He says that the National Apprenticeship Program will succeed.
A privilege I do not take for granted. A privilege because a descendant of the great Ndewura Jakpa took a bold step to empower many young men and women like myself. Empower us to be the architects of today and the engineers of the future. You have put young people at the helm of affairs of various sectors of your government. I assure you, Your Excellency, we will not, we cannot, and we shall not fail you.